Hello everyone, this is Greg from the UK CSC. I'm in Hyde Park. This is 420 and I'm surrounded by some really beautiful high people right now. Let's go and take a look at what they're doing. Well, I'm just standing here in Hyde Park watching a man juggling flames next to some MC rap battle. There's a drum circle going on next to the normal UK CSC booth, and there seems to be the Cannabis defender over there, like trying to free the weed or something. The park has just filled up in the last hour. It has just got so busy. There was about 300 or 400 people here for several hours, but it is just growing and growing and growing. And I mean, we faced a few issues actually, because the police blocked off all the entrances along the park, which we kind of rely on that to get the footfall, to come in and we speak to them about what's going on. They come and ask us. People who don't, not here to smoke weed, come and say, what are you doing? And we have the chance to tell them. They go, oh yeah, that's a sensible idea. Reform cannabis laws, stop the gangsters from controlling the market. So it was obviously worth doing these events because we're reaching the public that aren't aware of it, and we're getting the message directly to them. They're going to go home and have conversations with their families about it. But anyway, they blocked off those entrances and they put up search tents at each entrance of the park that they have allowed to be open. They're searching anyone who looks underage, and they've got dogs there, and they have search tents. So they're pulling people in and searching them. They're purple as well, and some people are going that people think they're UPA tents and heading over there and walking into a bit of a trap. So that is very unfortunate if that is the case. There's got about an hour ago, the police said there had been about 5,000 people in the park. There's a helicopter up there having a look, and they can gather figures. They've got a good sort of like experience overlooking protests in this country, so they've got the skills to calculate how many people there are. But are you able to up and roll? All right, we're over here with the Cannabis social clubs now. We've got Brighton, Tottenham, Hampshire, Portsmouth, several more I can't really remember right now. I can see a lot of the club people over there. Something that's happened in London recently is just the awareness, because these clubs, coffee shops and cafes have been happening for a while now. There's more of them popping up, and they're doing a little bit of social media to say, hey, we're here, you can come and smoke weed in this place in London or Manchester or Birmingham. There's a few in other cities as well, but there's a growing awareness of the ones in London among the wider cannabis community, not just people who are resident in London. And we're going to speak to Cassius, who frequents them a little bit more often than I do. I've been to a few of them around there and experienced it. I don't really enjoy the sitting in the smoke chamber too much, but I prefer being outside here where you can, the haze just wafts off. There is a massive haze going on right now, and this continues to grow at this rate. 420 is just going to be wow. I can't wait to see that picture. We've got some nice shots from the last few years. This is a really nice event going on. But Cassie's is going to come over and talk to us about the coffee shops that are popping up in London, the sort of like the cafes and hash bars that are sort of starting to serve up some more name strains, aren't they? Before it was just a bit of hash and a bit of cheese or a bit of lemon or something, but now there's other strains and they're demanding some price.
Yeah. You're seeing a lot more diversity in the choice you've got in London now. The fact that you've got places that you can go to where you can smoke, where you can get something that's impressive enough, but these days you can go there, you can get stuff that is specifically imported from California, because that's the exciting thing at the moment, isn't it? That's the hype, is it? Well, the Cali ting. I'm not the biggest. Well, I'm a fan of it because it's good weed. I'm not going to deny that, but it's definitely not worth the £30 a gram price tag that people.
Woo! £30 a gram, for real?
I've heard people pay up to £1,000 an ounce for it.
Really? Like that's good. Like I heard like 700, but I guess if people are paying for are people paying 0.8s for that or what? Like what's?
I don't know, but I think it shows you that there's a market for it. I suppose that there's people who are going to spend money on cannabis that they think is a premium, that they think that's a higher quality, a higher grade. But the reality is there's weed here that is of excellent quality, it's that par, it's that good.
And what are the names of these strains? Was
Strains that they
yeah, like what are they popping up in these coffee shops in the UK?
There was a cocaine honey OG.
What?
There was one I saw recently, cocaine honey OG. I had some sunset sherbet, which was fucking amazing. I'll hand it to them. It was really fucking good weed. But at the end of the day, like, it cost me £25, and I wasn't too happy about that.
So you still felt stung, even though it was good bud, because you know the true value of weed, or what?
Well, I know I can get equally as good weed as for a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. But as I say, it's impressive that there's somewhere you can go. I'm not going to complain, because you get an experience there that you won't get if you're going to a street dealer to get ripped off 1.8 for 20 quid. There you get somewhere to sit down, you get somewhere where you can meet other people who smoke weed, meet other people who vaporize, who eat it, you know. It's a new experience, and for £25, obviously it's not great, but people pay more for a lot less.
And there's no like entry fee to go into these places. It's just like you just roll up, buy something, and you get there.
That's the idea. The idea is that you pay for what you smoke there. You buy weed. There's no entry fee. But I see that as the entry fee, because if I'm spending, say, £10 in a coffee shop for a bit of weed, like, yeah, I'll smoke it. But I'm spending £10 to be there. Really, I've got my own stuff that's.
How do you think what they've got going on there? I mean, they've been established for a while now, regardless of what's been going on legally or around the world. They've been doing it as a sort of like a hash thing. I think it's just a new generation that's come along, going, well, we know what this is happening in the weed world. We know what modern consumers want, and they're bringing that to the table. And there is a legal market that they can get that from, and people want that branding. How do you think that compares or plays into what we've got going on with the cannabis social clubs at the moment?
I think it shows you that if people have been able to do it for so long, the fact that you just look at the amount of people that are here now, it shows there's a demand. People want this. People want to be able to smoke cannabis publicly, openly. People don't want to hide. So the fact that I know there has been cannabis clubs operating openly up and down the country now for over 10 years, depending on where you are, but I think now's the time for people, if they haven't set up something locally, to really consider starting it up, because it's doable. Without going into too much detail, the places in London have been doing it for decades, and if it's not them, someone else has been doing it. I've heard stories of places in Shoreditch you could go to in the 80s that you could buy a bit of hash in and you just enjoy yourself, you get a bit to drink. And they always exist, and hopefully we'll see more of that pop up, really.
Yeah. So really, you're saying people shouldn't be so afraid to get together locally, band together with the people that are like-minded and try and do something. And
just look around you, man. The amount of people that are here. It's a social thing, and I think that's what it's. Mm-hmm. It's not viewed as a social thing. It's not portrayed as a social thing.
Yeah, but so it's just coming out the shadows and showing people what it, not asking for it, doing it.
But that's what the United Kingdom cannabis social clubs are doing so well, I think, is showing that there are people that are doing this. They're socialising. They're proactive in what they want to do. They're not just sitting at home getting stoned alone. They're networking. They're creating their own events. They're creating their own brands, and it's an industry that's being created when they're being told no.
Typical lazy stoners, just forget about them. Right, we're going to go and have a look at something else that's going on in the park, because there's loads going on. I want to go and speak to that juggler in a minute. Okay, this is Greg with the UK CSC. Why have you come to 420 today?
Because cannabis shouldn't be illegal. No victim, no crime.
Yeah. Exactly that. No victim, no crime. No.
So what's your banner all about today then?
Well, free cannabis. We've got to work to freeing the cannabis. You wouldn't believe the amount of times people have asked for free cannabis, but not yet. When it's legal, yes. And this is my general distaste for the current situation of the world. It's not a riot, and then in tiny letters here, yeah, like soon, like.
So you got something about the super saving powers of cannabis?
Yeah. Help me, save you. It's pretty much exactly what it is. There's a lot of medicinal value to it, either getting high or not getting high. There's a lot that you can use cannabis for. So.
You looking forward to 420?
I am, yeah.
Right. Well, we're going to go and speak to some other guys over at the NORML booth and get ready for 420, because it is nearly here. All right, we'll catch you in a second. Let's go back over there. All right, everybody. We've got about 4 minutes till 420. We hope you've all got your your bongs, your pipes, your bowls, your spliffs, your hookahs, your chalice, all loaded up and ready to go to celebrate the one and only 420. We only get to do this one time a year. The whole reason 420 started was just a group of people got together and they smoked weed after their extracurricular activities at school at 420. And one of those guys ended up being a roadie for the Grateful Dead, a really hippie acid band from San Francisco in the 60s and 70s. And at 420, they used to, the guy who became a roadie for them, he used to take their tradition with him, and at 420, every Grateful Dead show, they used to light up, and that tradition went all over America and then subsequently the world. And we're here at 420, on 420, April the 20th, to celebrate cannabis and to protest against the absolutely ridiculous, unjust drug laws that criminalise many of us here today and many of the people around the world. We've got a very large prison population in the world, and it's due to stupid, unjust laws like this that have absolutely no basis in reality or evidence. In the UK, we've sat in wait while the rest of the world has seemingly gone ahead with legalisation. In Colorado, they now have medical cannabis and recreational cannabis for anyone to use if they're 21 and above. That's a much better policy than we got here at Prohibition, where if you got a bit of weed, technically you could be hunted down and put in prison for it for 14 years if you grow it, for growing a herb. Who thinks that's bullshit? I didn't hear you. Who thinks that's bullshit? Thank you. I've personally got Crohn's disease. I medicate with cannabis. It's absolutely saved my life. I was on 16 different pharmaceutical drugs before I found cannabis, and I was pretty much destroyed. My body was rotting away. I was on opiates, I was on chemotherapy drugs, and there wasn't much hope for me. I was given 5 years to live and told I'd have my whole intestines taken out. I said fuck that. I went to California and Colorado and got cannabis oil and went climbing mountains instead. I came back to the UK because I realised that there were a lot of other people like me, that many of them are here today, that are patients as well, that medicate. Years ago we didn't have anything. We're not quite there yet. There's 1,000 in Spain where if you've got a passport or your ID and you're a resident of Spain, you can walk into a cannabis social club and you can access cannabis. You can get it from about €3 a gram, and you won't really pay more than €10 a gram. It's really good quality, it's grown with love, and it's grown for its members. It's not like Amsterdam where you go into the coffee shop and you kind of, fleece for 20 quid, and then you've got to buy a few drinks while you're in there as well, and then you're told to sort of like get out. You can just sit in these places like all day with your friends, keep going buying bud, and it's affordable, so you can keep going buying bud and not stretching out that gram for for 6 hours. And we want that over here. We want the ability for people who grow their own cannabis or grow cannabis for their friends to be able to set up a cannabis social club and start distributing their cannabis on a non-profit or fair trade basis, at least, where they can get paid a decent wage for their work and people can pay a decent price for their cannabis, just like they do in Spain. I'm a member of 8 cannabis social clubs in Spain. I can get off a plane, I can get on a train, and within an hour I can buy myself like a quarter ounce of the finest herbs, multiple strains, and have a really good week.
4:19, 1 minute.
Right, we're about 4:19 now. Everybody get your lighting instruments ready. I heard people asking for a lighter. If people ain't found their Rizzlers yet, you got no hope. I see some really big fat ones there, some gorilla fingers. Wave them in the air, everyone! Put your... Happy 420, everyone! Oh. Happy 420, everybody! The battery ran out.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Light them up if you got them. Thanks everyone for coming. We're gonna roll out a few more speakers and let you know about what's going on in the cannabis country of the United Kingdom. The Cannabis Kingdom.
Facebook page, URL, website.
We've got a few organisations that helped put on the event today. thank you very much for coming. On behalf of NORML UK, it's a national organisation for the reform of marijuana laws. They're an organisation that's set up in 1970 in the US, and after I went out there in 2011 and did some work with them, we came and set up a branch over here. We've been working with the government to try and influence cannabis laws in the UK. I'm going to pass over to Stuart Harper now, who has been meeting with the devils that do the dirty deeds in politics. This is Stuart Harper from NORML.
Thanks, Greg. So yeah, so basically in the UK we've had quite a monumentous year actually, considering we were looking at a Conservative government at the start of it and probably very little progression. We've actually moved quite a long way. There's a lot of impetus in the UK at the moment for medical cannabis, and although NORML UK and UK CSC and the UPA all support recreational access as well, there's been a huge push worldwide and in the UK for medical access. And you'll see that in things like the latest Coronation Street headlines, and also we hear a lot of our politicians talking about it behind the scenes. So there's a huge impetus and worldwide movement towards acceptance of cannabis as a legal medicine. But there's some things that prevent its widespread use. And one of those things is the fact it's very hard to get something as a registered medicine because it has to go through testing, costs millions of pounds to do so. But it's thought that there's at least 3 new programs that are going to be going ahead in the very, very near future for bringing medicinal cannabis products to the UK. So within the next 18 months you're probably going to see a lot of movement about that within the UK and also internationally. Before President Obama steps down, you're probably going to see him do something with cannabis laws along the lines of rescheduling or moving them out of the federal regulation to enable mail-based sales in internet companies. Because the commercialisation of cannabis is what is mainly driving at the moment the impetus for reform. And the idea, all the organisations within the UK, what they want to do is to be able to make sure that everyone's efforts are focused in the same direction, which is to roll back prohibition and to bring legalisation to everybody. I hope you've all had a very nice 420 here at Hyde Park. I just have to mention that obviously there's quite a lot of us here today, so when we do make our way home, can we all make sure that we pick up our litter and we all make sure that we tidy up after ourselves so that we leave the park in the same state that we found it. Thanks everybody. Cheers, thank